Maxi flap is, well, that one is $20,270 for the maxi. The price is upon request, so this kind of bag would be over $20,000. Similarly, this one here with all this beading, all these different sequins, is also gonna be over 20K. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Jess. Thanks for clicking on my video today. I wanted to explain to you guys why the Chanel Classic Flap is now called the 1112 bag. Now, going on the Chanel website, I noticed that when you search the handbags, the first main handbag to come up is the Classic bag. Now, I noticed recently that they've been calling it the 1112 bag, and I think they kind of renamed it a few years ago, but yeah, I don't often hear people describe it as the 1112 bag. Most people describe it as the Classic Flap. Not sure whether the 1112 was a significant date, because I know that the 2.55, the meaning of the number is February 1955, where the bag was launched. And, well, the Classic Flap was actually launched in the 80s, and it was designed by Karl Lagerfeld. It was an interpretation of the original 2.55 bag with the quilting, although the difference with this one is that the strap lengths are different for one thing. The quilting, well, it's very puffy and significant on the bag. Apparently, it's the first bag to adorn the CC logo. Now, let me know, guys, if you think that is true, because I feel like there were also bags from the 1960s that had like elements of CC logo. Maybe I'm incorrect, but if this bag was launched in the 80s, well then, seems like maybe Coco Chanel herself didn't put the CC logo on her bags. But yeah, I feel like I had seen some like really old bags with CC logo. So yeah, I'm not too sure about that one, but that's what it says on the Chanel website. The bag also features a interwoven leather chain, which is different from the original flat bag, which had a bijou chain, which was a little bit different. It's this metal chain that has all this engraving through the kind of pieces of the chain. It's a very beautiful chain. The reason why Chanel invented a chain on her bags is that she wanted it to prohibit people from stealing women's bags. So a chain is a lot harder to cut than a leather strap. Women were finding that their bags were getting stolen. Like, you know, people would drive by on their bikes and then snip someone's handbag and pull it off them. So the chain helped prevent that. Also, the bag contains many secret pockets. You know, you've got the smile pocket at the back. You've also got the double flap, and you have a lipstick pocket. You have like two inner pockets. And with the double flap, some people mistake the pocket in between the flap and the back to be a pocket, but actually this is just a part of the bag. And I wouldn't recommend putting things in the very back of the bag. So when you open up the flap, that little bit in between there, I wouldn't recommend putting things there, because you can make the stitches pop. So there are two stitches on either side of the Chanel Classic Flap, which are hand done by a woman's hand apparently, and these stitches are very fragile, so it's pretty common for those to pop eventually, and then you have to take them back to Chanel to get them stitched. But if you start stuffing things in that back pocket bit, it can kind of break easier, so I wouldn't recommend using that back pocket. The Chanel Classic Flap, why has it been renamed the 1112 bag? Well, apparently, guys, only the medium flap, I believe, is called the 1112 bag, and its original code. So Chanel uses a lot of like codes for their colors, for their leathers, and for their styles. And the medium classic flap, the original code, even in the 80s, was A01112. So this code is basically where the name derives from. I don't know if this has got anything to do with the date, but apparently it's got to do with this style code, which is kind of interesting because usually brands wouldn't derive names from their style codes. But, you know, Coco Chanel was very much into numerology, and a lot of the Chanel bags, the numbers come from, you know, significant dates or like meaning behind the number. So if you think about, you know, the Chanel number 5 is a very significant number for Chanel. You know, the Chanel 22, the what else, you know, you've got, there's a lot, the Chanel 19, they're all significant kind of dates or years or numbers. Usually it derives from, like, they usually name their bags after the year it was launched. And as I said, it seems like only the medium size is called the 1112, because when I go on the Chanel website, all the other iterations of the classic flap are called like mini classic handbag, small classic handbag. The medium is called the classic 1112 handbag. Then you have the large classic handbag and the maxi classic handbag. Now, usually people online nickname the minis mini square and mini rectangle, but they're both called the same thing, mini classic handbag, and they are both different prices. Now, the mini square, to me, it seems like a style that I wouldn't be surprised if Chanel ever phased out, because it looks like there's more of an emphasis on the mini classic rectangle shape. Chanel does release more styles in the rectangle than the square, although the square is very popular because it looks like a little cute baby size, and the crossbody strap is actually shorter. So if you have a shorter torso or you're short, a lot of people prefer the mini square as a crossbody, although most people prefer the mini rectangle because it's longer and it's more of an appropriate crossbody strap for the average, probably, like, it depends what country you're in. Some people, for the mini rectangle, they get a ribbon and you can kind of shorten the mini rectangle a little bit better. So I would say the mini rectangle in general is more of a universally popular size. Now, the price is currently in Australia for the mini classic square is 8,230 Australian dollars. So we're in 2024. If you're watching this in the future, we're in 2024. That's how much it costs now. Crazy high price, considering back in 2017 it used to be 3,800 Australian for the mini square, so it has jumped up significantly over the years. The mini rectangle, I remember back in 2018 I paid $4,250. In 2024 the rectangle now costs $8,580, and the minis, they are a lot simpler in I guess make, comparing to the small and 1112 flap bags, because the other ones have four grommets, so the chains can move a little bit more, and they have the double flaps and all the pockets inside. So there is a lot more like craftsmanship in like the small, medium, jumbo and maxi flaps, but the minis still remain like one of the most popular because they are, sometimes they can fit more, or they can fit like a similar amount to the bigger ones because they don't have the double flap and they just look cuter. Similar to, like, you know, at Hermes with the mini Kelly and the Kelly 28. Like, for some reason, the mini Kelly holds value more than a Kelly 28 because it's just cuter. So it's the same kind of thing at Chanel as well. Now, the small classic handbag is currently 17,260 Australian dollars. So it's gone up like a crazy insane amount since 2018. Like, it's probably gone up $10,000. I just can't believe that, because it's just a crazy price for a very common bag. And this bag, yes, it does have handmade elements such as those 2 stitches on the sides, but apart from that, this whole bag is machine stitched. Now, there is a lot of stitching in the bag, you know, all the quilting, you have that CC logo as well, and all the hardware in the chain. But yeah, it is just a crazy price, and considering that the quality over the years has been very different, like if you compare a classic flap from the 1990s or the 1980s, they had you know, gold-plated hardware. The leathers that they chose were a lot different. So lambskin actually used to be more expensive than the caviar grain, because lambskin was seen as a higher quality leather, and it's a lot harder to source, and it's like, you know, to find a good hide is harder than a grained calfskin, which you can just emboss. It doesn't really matter what the you know, the scarring or anything is like on the hide. You need a bit more of a perfect hide for a lambskin bag. But now that caviar has become just as popular as lamb, in modern day they're actually priced the same. So that's interesting, and it also makes me question whether the quality of the lambskin has declined since like the 1990s, because it used to be regarded as a more superior leather. But I don't know, who knows, guys. I know that you know, with some of especially the mini bags and the seasonal bags, some people have experienced like peeling and poor dye quality, and the threads can sometimes be a little bit hit and miss. But yeah, it's a bit, you know, as I said, it's a bit hit and miss with Chanel. And You just have to compare quality from other brands and quality of Chanel. Chanel is not the best quality considering the price that they charge as well. So that's what I find really annoying about Chanel, is that although they have these really beautiful flap bags, the quality has been very different over the years. And even if you compare 2018 quality to 2024 quality, it is a lot different. You've seen a shift in the way that these bags are made. Anyways, the small classic handbag, it's a very cute size as well. Doesn't really crossbody that well. If you're short enough, you can wear it crossbody, but a lot of people like the small because it's just a cuter proportion. Out of all the flat bags, I think the small is like the cutest shape, and I like how it has the 4 grommets. So I actually prefer the small to the medium, just because you can't fit that much more in a medium flap, and small is just like a bit more petite and cutesy. However, it seems like the most classic size for the classic flap is the medium, because I've literally named it a different name, the 1112 bag. And if you look on the website, they have showcased a whole lot of different variations of the medium flap. So for the medium flap, there's a tweed, silver tone, light and pink multicolor one, which is 6,980, and this, is a fabric. So, Chanel are very much known for their tweeds, and depending on the type of tweed, things will be more expensive than other tweeds. So if it's a Lesage tweed, which is actually made by hand on a loom, and they usually thread like all different kinds of like fibers and fabrics, that tends to be more expensive than like a basic tweed or a plain tweed. There is also a fantasy tweed, which can be a little bit more detailed as well than a plain tweed. If you look at something like this fabric printed bag, which is not a tweed at all, a little less work in that. It's still 16,580, and the denim 16,460, a little bit less than that printed one. This one here looks like a fantasy tweed. It's 6,980. This one, because it has sequin, 17,950 is how much they charge for this. And I think it's also because they've changed the hardware. So this one has like enamel filled CC logo. If anything has like colored hardware, it tends to be priced higher than just a gold or silver logo. So that could also explain why this is that price. And I believe this is just like a plain tweed, like it's very uniform. This here it looks like a much more expensive version. Now it has a lot of like beading in it, which I assume would be done by hand, and the price is upon request. So this kind of bag would be over $20,000 because they would make less of them, and it's more of like an art piece. Similarly, this one here with all this beading, all these different sequins, is also going to be over 20k. Just want to get the classic medium 1112 bag. That's going to set you back 17,950 Australian dollars. So as I said before, these days the lamb and the caviar are priced the same. I also found it really interesting that this particular medium flap is 22,090. I'm not sure why actually, because looking at it, it's not that much different from like a regular leather one, apart from that gradient finish. But for some reason, maybe it's also, if you look at the strap, it has a whole like rainbow through it. Yeah, this one is just so much more expensive though than like the other one was 17,000. This was 22,000. Like, wow. I'm not sure why. And then again, the rainbow hardware makes this one about $1,000 more than like the classic 1112 bag. The yellow with the grained calf skin with the rainbow hardware. And of course, if you like get so black or something like that as well, it'll be a similar thing. This one here, 18,970, it has like a pastel effect to it. So I don't know why this one is less than like that other gradient one, which was 22,000. It must be just like the finish that they're doing on it. I actually have no idea. Now moving on to the large classic handbag, this is usually called like the jumbo, but for some reason on the Chanel website they called it large. Maybe, I don't know, Chanel sometimes changes the name as well. This season they've got this gorgeous pink lambskin. I mean, The thing about the Jumbo is that it's quite heavy and bulky, and you've got that double flap as well. So I really like the Jumbo with like winter clothes, like big outerwear and big coats, but it can be a bit overpowering with like summer clothes in my opinion. And then you have the maxi flap, which the straps on the maxi are a little bit shorter than the Jumbo. Now the Jumbo is 19,230 and the maxi flap is, well, that one is 20,270 for the maxi, which I can't imagine many people wanting to pay that much for a maxi, because particularly the larger Chanel bags do not hold value on the pre-love market, so you can definitely find them for good deals. Anyways, that's just a little bit about the classic flap. Let me know if you still love the bag. I used to have quite a few classic flaps, but I sold them to buy Hermes bags, and I'm actually pretty happy with that decision, because I find that for me personally, the classic flap, it's not the most practical. It's a gorgeous bag. It doesn't fit a lot, and yeah, I don't know, I just got a bit sick of it. I think they're a little bit overdone, but I know that Chanel is really trying to push them. You know, they've just released a ad campaign with Penelope Cruz and Brad Pitt, which I actually did some commentary on a few videos back. So yeah, let me know, have the current prices deterred you from buying a classic flap? Are you thinking of buying one pre-loved, or would you still go to the boutique to buy one? Let me know. I wonder if Chanel can continue to raise their prices like this as well, because the difference between now and like 5 years ago is just insane. So I can only imagine if they keep increasing it at this rate, how much the classic flap will really cost. I think it will just be insane. It already is insane. So anyways, I'll stop blabbing on now, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye!